Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it will be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! First story. My mom is very good at her job and uses her experience to get revenge against a negligent semi-driver and their company. First, a little backstory. Back in 2008, I got a convertible PT Cruiser for my birthday. Yeah, a bit stupid sounding, but it was cheap, super dependable, great condition, and it was a freaking convertible. I definitely enjoyed the heck out of that car during the summer. My family did too, which is where the start of this story comes into play. My parents love to take cruises around in this car. They will go to all sorts of different places, take the dog and make a nice morning or afternoon out of it. Well, one day back in 2010, they were driving on the interstate with my sister and dog in tow. They end up behind a semi with a flatbed trailer and big stacks of parts strapped down on the top of it. Imagine white-ish shiny metal beams but smaller. Well, secured would not be a good term to describe this load, because those parts fell off the trailer and right into the path of my parents. They described the scene as chaos. My dad, the driver, was swerving around the road to avoid falling pieces potentially going through the windshield. My sister was squeezing the dog for dear life. Pretty much a whole lot of chaos. And they finally managed to stop on the side of the highway. The family is terrified. The dog is freaking out. And the car is in terrible condition as a result of being hit by and driving over metal beams. The worst part? The driver kept on going, did not stop, did not pull over, basically left the scene of an accident which the load still not secure. And here is where the pro-revenge comes in. I mean pro-revenge. You see, my mom is a buyer. A buyer is the one responsible for coordinating prices and purchases of materials for manufacturing and construction companies. Cool fact about my mom, she is very good at this and has a lot of experience when it comes to part identification. And wouldn't you know, there were parts all over the highway. So she, my dad and my sister all go around collecting the metal pieces that had fallen off the trailer. She then proceeds to go home and uses her work experience to track down exactly where these parts came from. Keep in mind that the only thing she had to go off of was a random string of numbers on each part she retrieved. Not exactly easy for the average person, and it took her about a week to finally get to the end result of the research. Using only that information as well as all the knowledge and experience she has gained over the years from being a buyer, she not only identified the company who produced the parts, she could also identify where they were produced, the driver of the semi, as well as the destination of the parts. She contacted the manufacturer and threatened to press charges for what had happened. Since my mom had all the evidence, the parts were definitely for commercial usage only and shouldn't be in the hands of some mom 150 miles away from the part's destination, as well as the vehicle damage to prove what happened. The manufacturer was forced to pay out to fully repair the car, $5,000 in total. Needless to say, the semi-driver was also fired for negligence. Edit. Thanks for all the awesome mom feedback. She's an amazing person who deserves lots of love. Yes, the dog was fine, and is still a happy good boy to this day. Next story. Gold digger Karen gets a shotgun pulled on her. My grandparents are kinda wealthy. They don't look like it, but they are. They live in a nice farmhouse and they lead a fairly peaceful and quiet life. Their youngest son, my Uncle Ted, in his 30s at the time, was dating a woman that we will call Karen for the sake of this story. No one in our family liked Karen. She was a condescending, entitled woman who didn't leave any of us any room for doubt that she was dating our uncle just for his parents' wealth. She was a certified gold digger. And he was just an idiot for not seeing it, even though most of the people in our family told him so directly and indirectly. At one of our family gatherings, she did not mind making a terrible comment about how after my grandparents die, my uncle will get everything since he's their favorite, and she even said she can't wait to put her hands on my grandmother's stacked jewelry box that my uncle told her about. And then when the room went quiet after what she said, she tried playing it off as a joke and said,
Oops, did I say that out loud? My bad. Oh, come on everybody, I was just kidding.
Yeah, right. The whole atmosphere got extremely awkward after that, and people just started leaving kinda early since they didn't really wanna be around her anymore. After that day, my grandparents called 2 of their 3 sons and 1 daughter and asked them to visit them to discuss an important matter. And they decided to exclude Uncle Ted from that meeting. Once all of them got there and sat down, my grandfather started telling them that he gathered them today to take action regarding the woman their brother is dating. He started with, "No one has a right to interfere in someone else's private life. No one has a right to break up a relationship between 2 people as long as they are not harming anyone else, even if everyone around them doesn't like what they are seeing." Everyone quietly nodded and kept listening as my grandpa continued. "I have every right to protect my children if I ever feel they are harming themselves one way or another." Then Grandpa proceeded to tell them his plan to put some of the people lurking around his family to the test. A couple of weeks after that one meeting they had, he called his sons and daughter and told them to come to his farmhouse with their families, since he has a big announcement to make. And this time, everyone showed up, including Uncle Ted and his entitled girlfriend. Grandpa started with how he hasn't been feeling so well lately, and how he feels that his day is nearing. It got really serious right off the bat. Everyone in the room got tensed up. Well, except for one person. One stranger that has been waiting for that day to come ever since she set foot in this house. Anyways, Grandpa continues with his announcement. "Due to my health issues, I consulted lately with my lovely wife and my lawyer, and I decided to write down my will and divide my inheritance between all of you." Karen's eyes lit up as any talk about her future fortune brings her nothing but joy, even if it was at the cost of our beloved grandparents dying. Then Grandpa says, "But what I want to do a bit differently is that I want to be the one to announce how I'm going to divide my wealth. I don't want you to wait for after my demise to know what you're going to get. If you're getting something from me, you're going to know it right now." Then his lawyer hands him his will, and he proceeds to read what's written in it. After what seemed to be an eternity but didn't actually pass 10 minutes, my grandpa folded his will and ended it with, "This is how I decided to divide my wealth while I'm of perfect sound mind." It was quiet after that for a long moment. I mean, Grandpa, you lift a huge elephant in that room. Every single one got something of value from your inheritance. Everyone except for Uncle Ted. Uncle Ted looked confused and didn't really know what to say. He was a really good guy and he loved his parents and they too loved him, but he was just a little bit too naive for his own good. But while my uncle stayed silent without saying a single word back to his father, his Karen of a girlfriend did not. She got super red in the face and exploded saying,
Are you freaking kidding me, old man? What the hell does that mean? Why won't you give anything to me? I mean to us.
And Grandpa told her, "It is not up to you to tell me what to do with my own money. That's how I see fit, and that's what's going to happen. Period." She kept screaming and threatening everybody around her until she was kicked out by my other uncle from the house, while Uncle Ted just followed her outside, tucked her into his car and they drove off. Poor Uncle Ted. He doesn't deserve what Grandpa did to him, but more so, he doesn't deserve to be with someone like that horrible woman. And that's how that meeting was concluded. Suspiciously, no one talked about what happened. No adults asked my grandpa about the reason why he excluded Uncle Ted from getting a share of his inheritance. Everything just seemed too quiet and life returned to normal the very next day. Well, except for Uncle Ted's. All it took was a few days after this one explosive meeting for his gold digger girlfriend to dump him since, well, she won't be able to put her hands on his parents' money anymore. Her staying with him, acting like she loves him, made no sense after all of that. And so she broke up with him. All of us tried to feel bad for the guy after the breakup, but we couldn't help ourselves but to feel extremely happy for him that he got rid of that gold digger. We're really ecstatic that we're not going to see this woman again during family gatherings. In the next family gathering, Grandpa had us sit down again, and he just started mind-blowing everyone. Again, told us how the whole thing about his inheritance was something he came up with the help of my grandma to figure out if Karen was going to stand by his son right when he had nothing or was just going to bail on him once his parents' money was out of the equation. And now that this is a question we all have a clear answer for, then of course, he's going to redivide his inheritance to include his beloved son Ted this time and exclude no one from it. And that he never actually had any health issues to start with. He was just getting deep into the play he was cooking and wanted to nail it. Oh, come on, Grandpa. Of course, Uncle Ted had mixed emotions hearing this. But in the end, he came along and he and Grandpa shared a long hug that got some of us to shed a tear or two. And there you have it. A happy ending to a fairly long story, right? Nope. There is more. It gets better. It seems that Karen couldn't just take the L and be on her way. She couldn't swallow that pill. Couldn't let all these months she dated my uncle in go to waste. She wanted something out of it. One night, my grandparents woke up to their dogs going off barking like nothing else. Right in the middle of the night, Grandpa grabbed his pistol and just went to see what's causing this ruckus. And there she was, Karen trying to fend off the beasts attacking her. And once she sees my grandpa, she screams at him to help her and order these dogs to get away from her. It took my grandpa a moment to realize who she was, and when he did, he told the dogs off and they stopped going after her and sat down near their owner. He then asked her, "What are you doing here?" At first, she tried to deny what she came for by making some lame excuses about how she missed them and came to visit. Yeah, at 3 in the morning. But after my grandpa threatened her to call the police, she confessed that she came here to grab what she could from that jewelry box she heard so much about. That she earned what's in it, and that he should compensate her for all the time she spent with his pathetic son. And right when she was about to finish that sentence, she heard the shotgun cocking coming from behind the man that stood in front of her. It was Grandma, and she was pissed. One quick thing to know about Grandma: she's an angel. Truly one of the most loving people I have ever known. But you surely didn't want to see her pissed, because may God have mercy on your poor soul if you got her angry. She tells her, "You tricked my son for all of this time, stole all of his money, lost him all of his friends and broke his heart. And now you dare come here to my doorstep to steal some more? Oh, I don't think so." I learned later from Grandpa that he was on the verge of letting her go. But that was before Grandma showed up. You just don't argue with her when she's in that state. She then points her shotgun at Karen, orders her to lay on her stomach, puts her face in the mud and stands over her while asking Grandpa to tie her hands behind her back with the roughest rope he could find until the police arrive. They shall be here in a few minutes. I called them already. She tells Grandpa. 10 minutes later, the cops arrive, put the Karen in handcuffs and take her away. All the while she wailed and shrieked like she lost her mind. And that was the last time we actually saw her. I remember hearing about her getting some years in prison for breaking and entering, but I didn't know specifically how many years she's got. Let me just say that I have one of the most badass grandparents anyone has ever had. Next story. Shut my mouth and get out of your bar? Okay. I used to work at a bar as the only female security. They had had some very bad things happen when a man followed a woman to the bathroom. So they needed a woman that could keep an eye on what happened in there. This bar got in legal trouble all the time. The bathroom thing above, fire marshal closing them on some busy weekend nights for being way over capacity. The liquor board had pulled their license once already for over-serving, and also serving minors with pretty obvious fake IDs. I was one of the new security hires to help resolve all of this. It was so bad. We had to be trained by a government ATF person and get a card to prove we knew how to spot and stop over-servers and spot fake IDs. I think the real reason they hired us was to have scapegoats on the ready for the next time they did this. So I worked there a while, doing my best. The owner's wife was the worst. She was always drunk and always had her friends in the bar and bent the rules for them. She thought she was Lady Jesus, and we should all be kissing her feet because she was the owner's wife. I mostly stayed out of her way and had no issues, but many co-workers complained about her. One night some dude got sick on the way to the bathroom. I cut him off, and he ended up getting escorted out by his less drunk friends. I noticed a man sitting at the bar watching this. He had creased slacks, a jacket indoors on a summer night, and no drink in his hand at a busy meat market dance club. I started watching him and noticed the badge under his jacket. Aha, he was here to watch for over-serving. A little later, a woman came to the bathroom, drunk enough to need to hold on the walls for dear life. I cut her off. She screams at me, then goes into the bathroom and tries to wash out the giant black Sharpie X's from the back of both hands. I warned her that she will be kicked out of the club if she continues, and she screams again and staggers out of the bathroom. About 5 minutes later, the owner's wife is in my face, screaming. The woman I had cut off was one of her friends, attending a bachelorette party in the VIP section, and I was supposed to somehow magically know she was VIP. I was also apparently supposed to break the law for her because she was VIP. So she and I start a screaming match, where I inform her that her husband had hired me to make sure the law was followed. I also started to inform her about the police officer at the bar, but she screamed in my face to shut your mouth and get out of the bar. She fired me on the spot. I didn't bother waiting to see if her husband agreed. It was known she wore the pants. I complied. I shut my mouth and got out of her bar. I walked past the cop still sitting at the end of the bar near the bathrooms where the screaming match had taken place. I made eye contact with him, gave a slight nod, to which he responded by looking at the boss's wife, rolling his eyes and smiling at me as I left. They got shut down that night for over-serving the bachelorette party. This time, they went out of business because of too many strikes against them. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.